Hey guys, I want to talk to you a little bit about the Ascent event. It's pretty frowned upon. Generally speaking, a lot of guys say it's a pay-to-win, little to no skill event. Well, in some aspects this is true. Some of the gear is pretty expensive if you want to be competitive. There's a lot of gear min-maxing and just little minor skills that buff everything else if we put the time into it. We're making a couple videos of how we can break open different strategies with the event, even the playing field, and hopefully in the end say Ascent more accurately represents what we do as tree climbers. My Taz is on the top loop on my 4 SRT. I've got the arm put into the binding loop of the carabiner, and I've got the gate propped open, so I could just grab the rope, slap it in, close it, which brings me to my next trick. My carabiner's propped open, so I could just yank it back, slap it in like so, pull my rope taut, slap my ascenders in, arms out. I'll go over it back up in a different video, or I'll source another video that I've already posted. But for the most part, those are the most efficient tricks to get your system on as fast as possible. Okay, so taking it from the top, all my ascenders are open. I'll stand back to simulate being in the circle 10 feet away. So, time. You'll get a feel for how high you should have your weight. Then it's all just rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. So again, capture the carabiner open. Taz set up on the top loop of 4 SRT chest harness. Brake bar bound somewhere in this area so you can hold the gate open sideways. Now again, just for demonstration's sake, walk up to the rope, pull it sideways, and that's how simple it is. Now normally my hands aren't cold and I'm not fumbling this bad, but yeah, these are the repetitions you're going to have to do over and over and over. Start with a little bit, introduce more and more as you go. Try to keep your times under 25 seconds, and we'll get to the Ascent section. That's the make or break. That's the 18 points if you get first place. Now for weight, some people, they go and they get jumper cables and they tape up the teeth so it doesn't damage the rope. And then you could just put a whole bunch of throw weights or something of the sort on there if you don't want to be a wasteful douchebag like I am. But yeah, it's nice to give life into stuff that you don't use as often anymore. So I'll take it from the top one more time. Again, shortcuts, ascenders open on everything. A little less than 10 feet away, just simulation's sake. And go. About yay high off the ground's what I've had good luck with. I'm starting to find that practicing this in the cold might be preferable as well. Now once you're on in the event, they'll let you move your stuff around if you passed. You're going to want to do this because you're probably not going to get this set up exactly how you want right off the bat. I like it just off the ground. That way, both your feet are on the ground, which is necessary, by the way, but just barely. So I've got everything set up exactly how I like it. Try to spin your weight so when you bring your bottom foot up, it's not hitting it, making contact. If you mess up at all, it's going to show on your time. So from there, you can start simulating ascents. So cocked up, so I'm barely touching the ground. 3, 2, 1. So that brings us to changeover. I'm not going to cover that. Rope walking, all you have to worry about is taking your knee ascender and your foot ascender off the rope, making sure your ascenders are closed, depending on the chapter you're in. I'd practice closing them, just to get a habit to get into. smash the bell. I think it's 10 seconds you've got to work with there. Should be way more than enough. I'll cover gear a little more. I'm gonna give you a little talk about gear and best in slot. Now what I mean by that is not all devices are the same, not all styles are the same. Now for this style, when I'm referring to rope walking, pretty much gonna go with what I've had success with. Now when I say that, I mean the original Saka CT foot ascender, roughly 10 pounds of weight, a rope bag so I can hold down my backup rope. I'll show that in my videos later if you haven't seen them before. And a 5-point to practice with, 4 SRT chest harness to wear underneath that. It's really key, you gotta have your Saka attached to that and weaved through everything in front of you so it's not getting hung up on like a rope bridge or just a floppy piece of gear. You want everything as tight as possible, no slack in anything, no slop in anything. Figure out where you should have your Taslov or whatever device you're using. Maybe you're using the akimbo. If you want it chest height, maybe a little lower, maybe on the bridge itself, depending on what belt you have. You're gonna see how I run. Feel free to copy. That's what this is all about. We're building your toolbox. We're gonna break Ascent wide open. You've probably seen enough people destroy Ascent that you've picked away your own tips and tricks. That's great. I'm not trying to tell you exactly how to do it. I'm trying to add to your skill set. If you've got something better, feel free to make a video. We're gonna break this vent open. But once you get to the Ascent itself, you want small, efficient steps. A lot of guys think, oh, big gas or strides. That's not what you want to do. You're gonna be bagged by the time you get 30 feet off the ground. I mean like maybe middle of your shin strides. Watch a couple guys like Josh Bergiver, you'll see. Cookie cutter style, small steps the whole way through. I think I've just about covered all the tips and tricks with methodology. So current best in class device for this event is the Taslov 2. Now, the akimbo has recently been approved. It's now an ANSI-recognized device, or CE rather, which is enough to go into sanctioned comps. Word on the street is they're working on the Rope Runner Pro. All 3 of these devices are frictionless ascent, unlike our buddy here. Love this for work and every other aspect, but not for ascent. Unless you're trying to add some weight to your system and then do resistance training with your strides, which again is a good practice to do. But all of these devices, they're like 350 to 400 American, which is quite a bit more for us Canadians usually. Feel free to strap weight on too. A lot of the guys that are really good at Ascent are really good foot lockers too. And most of them have experience putting weight on and giving her to the top. But something you got to be careful of when you're practicing, try to have your weight hanging from you or somewhere that's central. I've made this mistake quite a bit when I was trying to get good at foot locking. I'd have my weight on my chest like a weight vest or something, and you'd be top heavy. So essentially every time you'd stop, your body would try to flip just because it's trying to find center, right? So you have to hold everything, and if you got to figure out you're trying to put on, it's not a good time. It's less dangerous with this, but normally when I'm practicing, I try to have a rescue line in place just to be safe. Something with a rope wrench or whatever. Kind of a good habit to get into. All right, so let's summarize a little bit. Trying to make our knee ascender as fast as possible. Short, efficient strides. Gear interfacing, including gear type, which is the issue with expense. Normally, in a competition setting, I wouldn't have saw pants and saw boots on. I would have, you know, the usual competition garb.
Here's the setup from my 2019 OTCC. Now you can see, you just rush in, you put the backup on, and then it's the rest as we covered as is. It's pretty straightforward. Don't forget to put your arms out when you're done so the judges know to stop time. My final trick is to make your own foot loop for a knee ascender. As you can tell from the stock one, there's a lot of extra flop and lost space that you got to capitalize on. So by making your own, you're making each step with your knee ascender that much more efficient and therefore that much faster of an ascent. Above all else, don't forget to have some fun with it. Here's Sean Welch. His showmanship's next level. Note that he's using a goblin for a backup. Sorry for the editing. It took so long to put this project together that it became how do I finish this project instead of how do I polish this project. I left out talking about rope. I could talk about it for days, but I've had the best luck with KM3 Max based on my weight and the rope's overall stretch. I've tried pretty much every static rope on the market. Cleaning up your Ascent makes every other aspect of tree climbing easier and less cumbersome. I hope you get something out of this video, other than gear costs money. Feel free to contribute your own tips and tricks in the comments or even make your own video. I really hope this leads to someone else getting their first medal and taking a step deeper into the competition circuit. Good luck, guys.